Earlier this year, I bought this camper van to travel my home country of Scotland. I left Scotland when I was 20 years old and there is so much of this country that I haven't seen. Initially, I thought I would just use this van in the warmer months, but I've really enjoyed having the camper van and I want to continue using it in the winter months too. I don't live in this van full time, I usually just go on extended trips, but if I want to use this van during the winter, I will need to make some changes in order for it to be more comfortable and warm. Today, I'm going to be sharing the measures that I'll be taking to winterize my camper van. I've arrived on the outskirts of Glasgow and today I'm meeting someone who's going to install the heater behind me. I ordered this heater online from AliExpress. I did quite a lot of research before I bought the heater. I've installed a diesel heater before, one that does water and also air, but here in the UK I don't have any tools, so I've decided to work with someone who has installed many of these heaters before. When I was speaking to the manufacturer in China, he sent through a list of names of people who are certified installers, and one of those installers is in Glasgow. So I sent him a message last week and he basically said if I ordered the heater, it should arrive within a week, and then bring the heater to him here in Glasgow and then he will install it for me. The heater arrived within 2 days. It was really quick to arrive. So the heater I got is called the Lavaner Pro and it's the 2 kilowatt heater. So there's also a 5 kilowatt heater available, but because of the size of this van, it's just a 2 kilowatt heater that I'm going to have. I think 5 kilowatts would make the van too hot. That might be better for a bigger type of van or motorhome. I've done quite a lot of research about diesel heaters over the years and there seems to sort of be three sort of categories of diesel heaters. So there's the really like cheap end, which has quite cheap parts. They're probably about £100 to buy. Sometimes you can get lucky and they work really well, but sometimes maybe after a year you need to replace certain parts like the fuel lines or other bits of the diesel heater. This is sort of more like a mid-range one and this was around £200 and something. The reason I chose this one is I joined a lot of Facebook groups. On the Facebook groups people were saying that this heater is really great and the parts used are of a higher quality compared to the very cheap diesel heaters that you can find. There was a lot of people raving about these heaters and saying how great they were and great experiences that they'd had with them. So that seemed good. So that's why I ended up going for this one. Yeah, so there's like JP heater. I installed that one before in the bus conversion. It was quite a challenging installation process. And then there's like the higher end ones which could be up to sort of £800, maybe more than that. I've never purchased them before, but some of the names are like Webasto. I decided to go for this one and we're going to install this. I'm going to hopefully get it hooked up to the fuel tank of the vehicle. We'll drill a hole in the fuel tank in the top and put the fuel line in so the diesel heater can operate using the diesel from the actual vehicle diesel tank instead of installing a separate jerry can for the diesel heater, which is what we did in the bus conversion. So so hopefully this will be fine to attach to the actual fuel tank of the vehicle. Before I go over it, I'm going to just open the box and show you what's inside. Oh, there is a jerry can in here. These jerry cans for diesel heaters usually tend to be 6 or 7 litres. The UK Declaration of Conformity, list of all the different parts. There's the fuel lines, the exhaust pipe, vent. Oh, there's 2 vents. Excellent. On the other side is the actual heater itself. It's really small, much smaller than the JP heater that I installed last time that did the water and the air. In my van I obviously have the 2 seats there, and then I'm hoping we can install the diesel heater under here, under this sofa, because on this side I like storing the extra outdoor goods, my extra tank of water, and then the toilet also in there. I have clothes in here at the moment and there's a little bit of space, so if I can get the diesel heater on one side and then put the clothes in the other, that would be great. I think he'll need to drill a hole in the floor, but it just depends if there's space under the van on this side. If it does have to go on this side, it's not the end of the world, and he might have a better idea of somewhere else to put it, so I'll speak to him. He's installed lots of these heaters before and get his advice. I'm going to head over now to Stephen's house. That's where he's going to do the installation and he says it'll take around 4 hours, and there's a few coffee shops and things around here, so I'll head there and get on with some work and then catch up with him later on, and hopefully the heater will be all up and running. It's now a few days later, just after I got the heater installed. I was going away for the weekend with some friends. I'm going to show you what the heater looks like. The installation took around 3.5 hours and Stephen, who installed it, did such a professional job. When I went back to pick up the van, he showed me how to use it and he showed me how it had all been installed, and it's done so professionally. It looks so good. So I'll show you what it looks like just now and then we can test it together for the first time. As I mentioned, I was hoping for the heater to go in here and then sort of second choice would be under this sofa, and he managed to fit it in here. This is what it looks like, and he also cut out a piece of the carpet here, so you can see that a little piece of the carpet has been cut out. This vent is for the cold air, so this will be the intake vent, and air goes into the heater, and then the warm air is coming out on this side. Here is the control panel on the side of the sofa. So he asked me where I wanted to put it, and I thought here would be quite convenient. Then we have the power source. So it plugs in to the DC power source in the Bluetti here. So as you can see on this side, there are two DC power sources. One is 12 volt DC 10 amps, and the other one is 12 volt DC 30 amps. So this one can go into the 10 amp socket, just like that, and then when the DC power is on, then the heater can turn on. So I think it's already on actually. Yes, so it's quite hard to show the screen here, but the DC power is on, and when I plug that in, you can see that the screen comes on. So under the vehicle is the fuel line, and that has been fed into the main fuel tank, the main diesel tank of the vehicle. So if you have a petrol vehicle, you would need to have a separate canister, a jerry can, maybe a 5 litre or 10 litre jerry can to hold the diesel to fuel the tank. So it's very convenient if you already have a diesel vehicle, because you can just put the fuel line directly into the vehicle diesel tank. And Stephen told me that it uses around 1 litre of diesel for every 4 hours that you have the heater on. So the current price of diesel is £1.60 approximately. So to operate the heater for 4 hours, it would cost £1.60. If you were to have it on overnight for 8 hours or 12 hours, then you can work out the price there. So it doesn't work out too expensive to use the diesel heater. This heater is powered by 12 volt DC. Stephen, who installed the heater, suggested that I should always keep the tank at least a quarter full so that the diesel doesn't run out and I can't drive the next day. If you do install a diesel heater, one thing to be aware about is the exhaust, which goes out the back. So when I installed the diesel heater before, it was near a window. So basically whenever the heater was on, that window needed to be closed at all times, because you don't want the fumes from the diesel exhaust entering into the vehicle. It's just something to bear in mind if you do use a diesel heater in your van. Something really great with this diesel heater is that it has a remote. So I've added this onto my car keys here, and if you're lying in bed and you want to turn on the heater and you don't want to get out of your bed, you can just use the remote and turn it on, and it will just turn on at the same temperature that you've got it set at. So I'm going to turn on the heater now, show you how it's working, test how long it takes to start blowing out the hot air, and then also how many watts it's using when it's plugged into the Bluetti. So I will turn on the on switch now, but I can start to feel some cold air coming out. It's definitely not hot air yet. With diesel heaters, especially the previous one that I had, you can hear a tapping sound. So as the diesel is going through the pump vibrates and it makes a tapping sound. So you can either install the pump inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle. So Stephen, he installed the pump on the undercarriage of the vehicle, and he said that he put some cushioning there to reduce the noise, or to actually prevent the noise of the pump. I can't hear any tapping sound. It's so amazing that this Bluetti can power the diesel heater. I was worried that I would have to install a proper 12 volt system. For the smaller Bluettis or portable batteries, it's more challenging to power these diesel heaters, because when they turn on, they need quite a large draw of amps. I think Stephen said that they draw 10 amps. So if you want to use a portable battery to power a diesel heater, it needs to have the correct amperage and the correct abilities to do that, otherwise it's not going to be powerful enough. So as you can see here, the diesel heater, when you first turn it on, 106 watts, and that'll then drop down. It's been on for around 2 minutes now, and I can start to feel the air coming out of the vent. It's a little bit warmer, it's definitely not cold, and the strength of the air is a lot more, and it's starting to warm up. It's not hot, but it's definitely not what it was when it started. So that's been about 2.5 minutes. Now the DC load on the Bluetti has gone down to 29 watts, and there is quite a loud sound as it starts up, but it's slowly getting quieter, I think, as the heater starts to operate. Oh wow, the heat coming out now is pretty warm. So the heater is just down here. Oh, it's so toasty. I can't even keep my hand beside it. It's really hot. So that's now about 4 to 5 minutes. If we check the power consumption, it's using 9 watts of power, between 9 and 10 watts of power to operate the heater. I'm sitting here beside the vent and it is so warm. I'm going to go outside of the van now and check what the noise is like, because one thing I really wanted with the diesel heater was not to disturb others who might be walking past or staying nearby, because some diesel heaters can be really loud and they can be quite disturbing, especially if you're in a campsite and people are parked next to you. Outside the sound is absolutely fine. It's definitely quieter than the JP combi heater that I was using in the bus conversion before. Even if I was at a campsite, it wouldn't disturb the people next to me, especially if they were inside a van and had the door closed. Maybe if someone was right outside with a tent, it might be disturbing, but the sound is barely noticeable, which is great. Overall, I'm really happy that I got Stephen to help me with the install. Stephen lives in Glasgow, and if anyone is looking to get a diesel heater installed, or electrics, he does electrics as well. He's very professional. I'll put his details below and he'll be able to quote a price for the install, I guess depending on the size of the heater and the work that you need done. It's going to be a complete game changer for my van life during the winter months. In addition to getting the diesel heater installed, there are a few more things I've purchased which will help me enjoy the van much more during winter, so I'll show you what those are now. I also purchased this little mini radiator, and this is a low wattage radiator which uses 500 watts. Even in situations when I don't want to use the diesel heater, there might be times where the fuel is low and I need to save the fuel to drive the next day to get to a fuel station, then in that situation I could power this using the Bluetti. So I'll plug it in now, see how much it's using, and also see how much heat is coming off this heater. As you can see, the size is really small. It's really easy to bring this in the van. It's absolutely tiny and it's pretty easy to store somewhere out of the way, and this is powered by AC. Unplug this diesel heater, unplug this, okay, turn off the DC, turn on the AC. The heater is on, and then you can adjust the temperature. So I've turned it to the maximum heat. I've pulled the Bluetti out so you can actually see how much it's using. So it's using 512 watts to power the heater. So if I turn the temperature down, I wonder if it will use less. So that's about half now. Still using 512, so might as well have it on the hottest setting. That's starting to get warm now, but as you can see, it does use a lot of power. So if I wasn't worrying about power, it would be possible to plug it into the Bluetti here and use it just to heat up the van maybe before going to sleep. But generally I will use this heater when I go to a campsite and I'm plugged into the electric hookup. The reason I found out about this heater was I was staying in a campsite a few weeks ago, and there was a small Volkswagen transporter parked next to me, and they were coming in and out of their van quite a lot, and I saw the heater just in their entrance area of the van, and I thought, oh, what a fantastic idea to have that really miniature heater. So I was searching online to try and find one that was low wattage, and I eventually found this one on a website called screwfix.com, and I think it was around £25 to buy this one. It's starting to heat up now. That's just taken 2 or 3 minutes and it's getting quite warm. It is using quite a lot of power. This video was possible to film today thanks to Bluetti, and Bluetti are giving away one of their most popular batteries, the EB3A, to one of you watching this video. The EB3A battery is one of Bluetti's most portable batteries. It weighs only 4.6 kilograms and it's got a handle on the top, so it's easy to move around. On the front there are some USB sockets so you can easily charge your phone, your laptop and your cameras, and there's also this AC socket so you can charge devices or appliances up to 600 watts. One of the great things about the Bluetti EB3A is that it can recharge up to 80% in only 40 minutes, which is really convenient when you're traveling around. If you'd like to win this EB3A, please leave a comment below and include the word Bluetti within your comment, and also follow the Bluetti YouTube channel, which I will link below in the description. This giveaway is only available to people in the UK since this is rated for UK voltage. I'll be announcing the winner of this portable battery in 2 weeks' time, and I will announce it on my YouTube community tab and also reply to the winning comment here on YouTube. Before the sun goes down, I looked out the window and there's a rainbow. Recently I'm very lucky. seeing rainbows all the time. So the next thing I plan to use during the winter is this lovely hot water bottle. So I've seen a few of these in different shops, and I was in a shop earlier called Home Bargains, and it was my first time in that shop actually. It's really a fantastic shop. There's lots of amazing things for very affordable prices, and I found this lovely hot water bottle. It was around £10 I think. I've been using a regular hot water bottle, but because it's rectangular, it's a bit bulky inside the sleeping bag, but this will fit much better inside the sleeping bag because it's long and thin. So that will keep me nice and warm during the winter, and it's also so soft and cuddly as well, which is amazing. I'll also share with you about my sleeping bag. So a few months ago I shared with you that I'm using this Nanga sleeping bag. It's a Japanese company and all the sleeping bags are handmade in Japan, and they're a really fantastic brand. They're quite pricey, but they're very good for hiking. So this is why I got this sleeping bag, because in Japan I did a lot of multi-day hiking and staying overnight in the mountains in a tent. These sleeping bags are really great because they're so compact and they're very lightweight for carrying on multi-day hikes. And this one goes down to -5. There's different ones available. To be honest, when it's like 0 degrees or 1 degrees, I'm quite cold inside the sleeping bag, even if I'm wearing thermals. So for the Campervan, I've now got this other sleeping bag. So this is the difference in size. A few years ago, my brother, he was trekking and horse riding in Mongolia, and for the trip he was staying in yurts, and he needed a very good sleeping bag for staying in the very cold temperatures. So this one goes down to -15 or -20. So I'm going to be using this during the winter, and then sort of in the warmer months I will use this Nanga sleeping bag. And obviously having a kettle in the van is great because I can make cups of tea, and that's a great way to stay warm in the winter months as well. These changes that I've made to my van and the things I've bought are really going to make a huge difference to using the Campervan in the winter months. I'm so excited to continue using the van during the winter months because Scotland is so beautiful in the winter as well, and there's so many more amazing places I want to visit and make videos of. So I'll continue doing that over the next few months. And don't forget, if you'd like to win the portable battery, to leave a comment below. Thank you so much. See you next time.